Good afternoon. My name is Bill Mountsier, and I'm so glad you all have come out for today's book signing for my new book, Let's Do It, the Devotional On Steroids. And I was just thinking about one of the stories that I think might go in another book, but I dropped off some of these books at the very first church I served, First Baptist Church of Mount Healthy. And whenever I walk in that foyer, I remember this story. I was a youth pastor there, and we had an overnight. And I think there were about 4 adults there, but there must have been 20, 25 kids or something like that. And we were sitting down in the fellowship area when there was a downtime. It was probably 2, 3 in the morning or something like that. We had activities planned for the whole night, but there were always some free time. And so we were just sitting there talking, and then one of the kids ran down the hallway and into the fellowship area, and he was sopping wet. I said, "What are you doing? I told you all, no water guns, no water balloons, no water blasters, no super soakers, none of that." And he said, "You won't believe this. You got to come over here and look at this." And so we walked down the hall, and sure enough, some of the youth had brought the hose in from outside, and they were spraying each other in the foyer of the church with the hose. So I was a little upset at that point. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "We're having a blast. It's so fun. We spray everybody that goes by." And I said, "You can't spray people in the foyer. I told you, no water things." And they said, "You said water guns and stuff. You didn't say anything about a hose." And they said it with complete sincerity. One of the other kids even said, "Yeah." I said, "Put the hose away, get rid of it." And from that moment on, I have only had one rule for youth. Youth overnights, youth trips, youth camps, youth Sunday school, whatever it would be. And this is the rule. Don't do anything I don't want you to do. And yes, you must read my mind. Now, you think this is teenagers, and it was teenagers. I think these were 8th and 9th graders especially that had thought this was a good idea. And unfortunately, some of you from Mount Healthy might be watching this and thinking, that happened in our church? And yeah, that happened. So it is teenagers, but really it's all of us too. Because we like to get to the specific rules, and if there's a way around something, we usually try to do that. In fact, there's a whole system in our government based around this. It's called tax loopholes. So if there's a loophole in the tax system, people will find it. Accountants for major businesses and even people, individuals, will look for all the little ways they can get around the system, if they can, not to pay their taxes. But it's not just that, it's all of our laws also. We have pages, books upon books upon books of laws, because when something isn't written specifically enough, someone will do something and say, it wasn't written that way. See, that's just the nature of our hearts. We end up doing things that we know are probably wrong, but if there's not a specific rule about it, then we try to get around it. And unfortunately, we as Christians do that as well. We try to ask, can I do this or can I do that, instead of thinking what the spirit of the law, and there are many specific laws in God's Word, of course, but sometimes we try to get around that, and we try to think, am I allowed to do this or do that, when really we need to look at the spirit of the law, and the spirit of the law is that we would be drawn closer to Christ. And the things that are close to being wrong, they might not be wrong, but you don't want to do them just so you can do them. You want to follow a lifestyle that will help us get closer to God and closer to Christ himself. So, there is a letter of the law, and you need to know what that letter is, but also in general in our society, but even more so in our Christian lives, you need to know what the spirit of the law is. And God's Spirit wants us to draw us close to him. And that's the whole point of him having a relationship with us. He doesn't want to just give us rules to see if we will follow them. He wants to give us ways to live so that we can be close to him and know his great love for us. I love telling stories, whether they're true or not, and this one was true also. And love to find the meaning behind them and what makes them so special. to make us think about our lives and about our lives with God. Hope you enjoyed it as well. I look forward to seeing you again. Don't forget the book, Let's Do It, the Devotional On Steroids. I hope you enjoy it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.